Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I am your host, Zoe, with my co-host, Cantu, without the granny glasses on, as the other person had said that like 2 or 3 episodes ago, wearing the glasses. But how we doing, man?
Good. How about yourself? It's been a long week.
Damn, short and sweet. I love it. This time
today.
it's not a more detail, but it's. I guess the kids are treating you right at school then.
Yeah, pretty good group. Very good group. So, just tired.
Just tired.
I have to drive. I have to drive to Stafford tomorrow. Way over yonder for training.
That is a very way over yonder trip, especially where we live. Yeah, that's way over yonder. But episode 214, Astros bit by the injury bug, as we are going to title this episode because 2 injuries occurred on Wednesday night, as we are recording this on Thursday, September 12th. They had occurred 2 injuries, regarding one on being Chas McCormick, and then the other one on Jose Altuve, which that is one of our topics on today's show. We'll recap that A series. A lot of things to get into that series. Go ahead.
I was also going to add, and then also the Astros are recovering from 2 injuries, and Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman there too. So they're still working their way back.
It's a lot to get into, especially with 16 games left in the season. Who's about to take the card now? I saw the pitching preview, train station injury news, and around the horn. Angel, get everybody started where they got to follow us and get connected with us. Then we can get this show on the road.
Absolutely. Subscribe and follow us on Full Steam Ahead on TikTok, X, and YouTube. If you want to follow us, it's FSA on Full Steam Ahead on Instagram. Again, leave a rating, subscribe, tell your friends, leave us there. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts there. So if you miss an episode or want a recap of what we talked about, you can find that there.
Yeah, we've recorded 3 times this week. This is the 3rd episode of the week, which is really...
Isn't it be full? Oh, no, yeah. Because we're recording on Sunday, right?
Yeah, Sunday will be the new week, but shit. We had the recap of the Diamondback series. We had Omar Vizquel, which if y'all have not seen that new episode, go make sure and tune in to learn about his career. He talked about a little bit about the Astros as well, and much other topics, and as well as this episode right here. Like I said, 16 games left in this season. The season is finally coming to an end. October baseball is here. The Astros magic number currently, as of right now, is 13. The record as of right now as well, 78-68. They're first in the American League West, in front of the Seattle Mariners. It was 3.5. I think it's 4 right now, just for the fact that the Astros did win today's game. So if Seattle loses, then it'll go to 4.5. And if the Mariners win, it'll be at 3.5. So the Mariners are continuing to cut that number little by little by little. The Astros have lost 6 out of their last 8 games on Wednesday night. As Thursday, it's been 6 out of their 9 games. So the Astros haven't been playing pretty good baseball as of late, but hey, they did win the series finale, and it's a happy flight to Anaheim, as they're going to be traveling to play the Angels. Then they'll play a very great series. More than likely, they're going to be in the postseason, I think, the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one to witness if you're out there in the San Diego area, or if you're traveling Astro. That's going to be a great one to go see.
I want to say there's one more road series, or is that it's just them 2 road series that they're playing? If you have a calendar in front of you.
Oh, it's on my phone. My phone's currently occupied.
See, I mean, they've already finished off with the Mariners.
So they're playing in Los Angeles with the Angels, San Diego, and then they have Cleveland. They finished off with Cleveland.
Okay, so no, then them 2 road series are right there, and then they come back home. Oh, I'm guessing they're facing the Angels first, and then the Mariners. Correct?
Yeah. Angels first, so it's Angels, then Padres, and Angels again at home, Seattle at home, and then Cleveland.
So 5 series is left in the season. 5 series is left. So very important games coming down to the last stretch bit of it. Of course, like I said before earlier in the last episode, this would be their 4th consecutive American League West Division Championship, if I'm not mistaken. It's either their 3rd or 4th consecutive, because
they didn't win it in 20.
Yeah, A's won it. So 21, 22, 23. Then it'll be their 4th if they win this year.
Correct.
So I think personally, I don't think they're gonna get the number 1 seed. It's more looking like either Baltimore or Cleveland. More than likely, the Astros are gonna look like they're gonna be the 3rd seed of this
Yeah.
of the American League.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. I think they haven't been able to take advantage of like beating up teams like the A's, although the A's have been on a hot streak. Like we kind of gave you that info there, so we knew it was not going to be an easy series. But I think we can go back to that series earlier when they couldn't beat the Cincinnati Reds. That was a big one. Getting swept right there really cost them getting behind. Obviously, going against Arizona kind of brought that up, but it's just I think if there's a series that will be the difference maker, I think it was that one. If they don't get the bye.
Which one was it? This recent Ace series that you think?
Both actually. I think I would say the A's and Cincinnati series.
So I think the critical series that I think that the Astros are going to have to. It just depends on how short of the lead is in the American League West. If it's like by 1 or 2 games against the Mariners, then I think it's going to be that one, and then it's going to be the Cleveland one. So if they have a little bit more cushion, just a little bit more cushion, I would think the Padres and the next upcoming homestand with the Angels before they get to the Mariners.
And I'm sure the Seattle Mariners are going to be throwing the kitchen sink at the Astros, so they got to be ready for that one. I was going to be a dogfight because high stakes are. I don't think either team, the Seattle Mariners or the Astros, want to leave that series not leading the division. So I think that's going to be a pretty good one there.
This whole time I thought that my mic was connected. I'm talking on my damn Mac mic, but this mic isn't connected now. But anyway, I did see a stat on the Space City Home Network on the broadcast. It was talking about teams under 500. The Astros have just been playing poor against, and teams above 500, they've been doing decent, really well. And I guess that's kind of a pro and con because the cons are like, well, shit, you should be beating these teams under 500. Like this series against Oakland, I thought the Astros honestly should have, just for the fact that playing great baseball in the second half of this season. So I thought that would have been a winnable series for the Astros, and it was winnable. But we'll talk about here in a minute. But I think that's a pro too, just for the fact that October baseball is coming soon. The playoffs is near. The Astros get into the postseason going against these above 500 winning percentage teams, then it looks really favorable in the Astros in their favor.
Yeah, I would agree.
So just have to continue to monitor that. Another thing just to add on before we get started is Luis Castillo. That's really their ace, I would say, on their team, is out on the 15-day IL.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear about that.
So, yeah, I mean, that could be another difference maker, but they do have a bunch of great starting pitchers on that damn rotation. I mean, Brian Wu freaking just almost had a perfect game against San Diego, which San Diego is a great postseason team. But I know everybody don't want to hear that because
we'll talk about his cleats too in the soon. I don't know if you saw those Brian Wu cleats.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a bit.
Later. But I know you're ready for Thursday Night Football. So let's get to that recap against the Oakland Athletics series. There's 4 objectives on this one, 4 topics. On Monday, we're going to start off with the runners in scoring position because, my gosh, Astros have multiple chances. Jeremy Pena did hit that ball off of Mason Miller, who throws 100+. Das Cameron, former Astros prospect, made a great play in right. But the Astros had a bunch of opportunities, just did not get it done. And on Tuesday, 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position, 13 men left on base. That's not going to win you a lot of ball games. And right there in that game specifically, that should have been a winnable game for the Astros, but just didn't go their way.
Is that me or what?
Yes, that is your phone vibrating, which I'm pretty sure everybody hears. But yeah, I mean, runners in scoring position in that game, it just wasn't really well. After that, Astros were 4 for 9 in Wednesday's contest, and then Thursday, obviously, they did win that game. A lot of 2-out hitting in that one, specifically from John Singleton, Jake Myers, and Mauricio Dubon. My gosh, that was well needed because the Astros were tied at that time, and then John Singleton with that blue pit 3-2. Jake Myers hitting that double in the gap, and then Mauricio Dubon after Jason Hayward had that intentional walk to first base, Mauricio Dubon was able to come up clutch with 2 outs with that 2-run single.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was looking at the box score in that one, and in that game three, shout out to the bottom of the order. I think that's what we've been talking about for a long time. Is the Astros can't really like always rely on Jordan Alvarez or Kyle Tucker, Bregman, because sometimes they're gonna have those off days. But if you go look at the box score closely, the bottom of the order really carried the Astros this game.
Yeah, Jason Hayward, not to mention, first home run as an Astro right there, to right field as well. So he had a good game, especially with the news to Chas McCormick. I think him and Ben Gamel are going to be playing a lot in these upcoming games, which we'll have that update on McCormick later. But Hunter Brown, I mean, Hunter Brown has been one of the best pitchers in this rotation for a great while. Hasn't really had a bad game since probably the Chicago White Sox, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not that one, then the Minnesota Twins over there at Minneapolis. But the Athletics had his number in this game, and usually Hunter Brown really pitches well against them. He's never lost to them in his career. He had a 1.80 ERA career-wise against the A's, and the A's finally got to him. 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. 97 pitches were thrown, 62 of them were strikes. The difference maker in this game for him, he did throw a lot of great pitches, just missed some of his spots. A lot of hard contact as well was allowed. I know Brent Rooker hit a good one, Seth Brown as well. I think Ryan Noda is the guy that hit the home run into the Crawford boxes. Caratini had set him, not Caratini, Yainer Diaz had set him inside to the lefty, but pitched it out. And I like I said, I think it was Noda that hit that home run. Well, actually, I have the damn scorecard right in front of me. My gosh. If I'm not mistaken, no, Kyle McCann, which had a 248 batting average, hit it to the Crawford boxes and left. And sometimes you're just going to get hit like that, man. I mean, you can't be necessarily perfect all the damn time. And I just figured that Hunter Brown in his next start, he's going to be very, very ready to go. And it's going to be a great game, especially against a team like San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the same thing. I feel like you can't be perfect the entire time. It's going to happen. But I have a question. Is Kyle McCann related to Brian McCann?
I don't know. I don't think so.
They kind of look alike.
It could be because Kyle
McCann
from
Georgia.
Kyle McCann too is a catcher.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
You could check that out.
I don't mean I'm looking at baseball reference. Baseball reference usually tells you they're related to anybody, but they're both from Georgia. They kind of look alike. I don't know. I guess we should have asked him.
We'll see. I mean, we can check it out, and if you want to check it on MLB right now, or if Baseball Reference didn't have it, then by all means.
Yeah.
But speaking of defensive catchers, and Brian McCann was a great defensive catcher for the Astros. This time around, defensively, the Astros just didn't look really too good. I mean, Jeremy Pena did have some great plays. Alex Bregman made a great play at third as well, but there was some defensive miscues, errors, whatever you want to call it, in this series. I mean, Tuesday we could start it off. A ball went under the glove of Yainer Diaz on his left side, which Yainer needs to kind of shift a little bit more, be a little bit more athletic instead of just trying to stab the ball. And that was the case on Tuesday for when that ball was hit to him on the right side, not the left side, I meant. Then Wednesday comes along, and I'm pretty sure everybody had saw that game. If you've not, then like Angel said, I don't know if you've been hiding under a rock. The Athletics bunted 3 consecutive times, man.
Yeah.
PFPs are very important in this game. Pitchers, fielding, practice. That is very important when it comes to baseball. And right there, it just showed the Athletics, Daz Cameron, I think Zach Geloff was another guy. And I don't have another player on my head, but 3 consecutive bunts in a row. The first one was successful. Victor Caratini fielded cleanly through the first. Runner moves to third. Then the guy next comes up. Hector Neris gets the ball, fields it good, doesn't do nothing wrong, but couldn't get the ball out of his hand. Getting that transition and throwing it to Caratini at home, he just couldn't get it out of his hand. Ball gets away. That happens right there. So then you got runners on first and third. Yainer Diaz comes up. I mean, he's fairly a new first baseman. He hasn't played a lot of first base throughout his whole career.
Yeah.
Bunts it in the air. And that's kind of like, I don't know if Yuli Gurriel makes that play, if he dives for the ball, but that is a very diveable play I thought Diaz could have made. Didn't die for it. Gets by him. Luckily, Altuve backed him up and threw the ball to Pena at second to get the force. But right there, I mean, PFP is very important in this game, especially for pitchers and even catchers and first basemen at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Astros should have taken care of those bunts. Like some, like they weren't good bunts to be like tell you the truth. The one to Neris, like when you bunt, you always try to get it down the line, and Neris easily could have had a play on that. Just couldn't, again, like you said, couldn't grip the ball, and then Yanni has to catch that.
Yeah,
that's like those are things like those are little things that could be the difference maker in the playoffs. I think I'm sure they'll be working on it before the game or like when there's no people around. But those are the things you have to clean up if you want to go far in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. And then, like you said, I mean, sometimes it could be the difference maker. And sure enough, Altuve hit that double, and that would have been a tie ball game if Diaz had caught that ball. So, like you said, it could have been a different maker. And then just to add on to the defense topic, Thursday, Jose Altuve was trying to turn the double play quickly as possible, but didn't field it clearly. If you go look at the replay, his eyes were just looking at the runner going towards second. So he wasn't going to field that one cleanly. That same day, too, I had taken a video and he was working with Omar Lopez on the side with some forehand and backhand. And just right there, his body was coming up on the ball instead of staying low. His body, like I said, was moving up at that moment. So not too concerned about the defense from Altuve, but the PFPs, like you were saying, Jeremy Pena, of course, has his woes, but Pena didn't make an error this series. It just got to kind of clean up a little bit more, getting closer to the postseason.
And we get it. Like it's a long season. Like if you go check out that Omar Vizquel podcast we had last time, we talked about Jeremy Pena and his defense, and sometimes guys get a little complacent. Especially Pena who had a Gold Glover. I'm not saying Pena stops working hard, so like that he still works hard, but sometimes, it's a long season, so you start kind of shying away from those fundamentals because you're tired. Your body's tired, so like you forget to put your glove down and you forget to reach out a little bit. So it's just like little things like that they have to get back to.
Yeah, and 11-time Gold Glove winner. Yeah, he has the secret to the mental part of infielders that go through some slumps here and there. But like Angel said, check that one out. And to end it off on a good note, Framber Valdez. This one we're going to call Frambo.
Frambo to Lambo.
Fantastic. We're going Frambo because
with the
if you
Lambo.
haven't seen, the Lambo that he had recently purchased, and he even gives the backstory. If you go on our Instagram story, it's on there. On our skin, it's on there too, with Framber Valdez talking about his Lamborghini, which is pretty cool to listen on that. But I mean, he's been cruising. Speaking of, since we're riding cars, he's been cruising a lot this second half of the season. 6 and a third, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. 96 pitches were thrown, 65 of them were strikes. John Singleton did make an error, but other than that, 12 ground outs, including 1 double play. Of course, that is the guy that gets the king of ground balls, especially inducing double plays, as well as he leads Major League Baseball in that category. ERA goes down to a 2.91 and has thrown 5 quality starts in his last 7 starts. So it just shows right there how efficient he's been on the mound for the Astros. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised this is the game 1 starter for the postseason. And if Tariq Skubal wasn't pitching the way he's pitching, my guess, Framber Valdez is winning this Cy Young.
Yeah, he is going to be the game 1 starter. There's no question about that. So it's not like I know that for a fact.
Yeah, and let's move on to the biggest news of this episode, since it is titled "Bit by the Injury Bug." Jose Altuve, being one of the biggest, most important players on this roster for the Astros, did come out of the game on Wednesday night, and I kid you not, I'm pretty sure a lot of Astros fans, even in the press box, seeing the view, everybody, you couldn't hear nothing. I mean, well, you could hear everything, but I'm just talking about fans wise. No one was like, you couldn't hear a peep. Everybody was that silent in the crowd because a lot of them were holding their breath. Joe Spada and the trainer go out there to see what happened with Jose Altuve. And that pitch, you can tell like he was hunting fastball, but I think it was an off-speed pitch. I don't know if it was a changeup, if I'm not mistaken. And he got fooled, and he even had mentioned that too. Next pitch on the 2-2 count after the visit from Espada and the trainer, Altuve just decided to bunt, and obviously, if you don't get the bunt down on 2 strikes, it is a strikeout. So as soon as Altuve got to the dugout, he just went into the Astros clubhouse, and from there, I already had knew that he wasn't going to come back in this game. Later on, they announced that it was right side discomfort, and when you think of side, you are thinking oblique. And Altuve has a history of oblique injuries, and oblique injuries themselves are tricky to determine the diagnosis. If it's going to be a 1 week kind of thing, if it's going to be a day-to-day kind of thing, IL stint, possibly missing up to a month. So a lot of things were going on, trying to figure out what was happening there. But I do have the clip. I was going to try to put it on here, but of course, the program that we're using does not show. So I do have it right here on my phone. I'm just going to put the audio. I'm not going to put the video on. So sorry for people that want to see the video. If you don't see the video, you can just go on my Twitter right there. But here, what Altuve had to say after the post game.
I just feel a little something on the side, the right side, and decide to now take another swing.
Had it been bothering you before, or was it just on that one swing?
Just on that one swing.
You had oblique issues last year. Is this in any way comparable?
No.
It's
Not the same.
Do you have any idea? How's it different?
I don't know. I'll tell you tomorrow. Like, sometimes you have to wait until the next day and see how you feel.
What kind of a treatment you just get at this point?
I just wait until I think it's too early to get something done. Wait until tomorrow, see how I feel, and go from there.
How frustrating is this stuff to happen now with October so close?
Yeah, not like I said, I'm not really worried. Like I said, maybe I just wake up tomorrow and then get to go. So we don't really want to take any decisions tonight because normally in the injury you wait until the next day and see how you feel.
So that was Jose Altuve in the post game addressing the media. Questions coming from Channel Rome, Alan Spillane, Matt Kohara, Brian McTaggart. That was the post game for Altuve. Had an update earlier today from Joe Espada per Chandler Rome. Espada had mentioned that he had said Jose Altuve is better. Espada expected him, quote, to come in and be more sore, especially after the way he looked yesterday. But Altuve was able to do some things in the weight room. He remains day to day. Angel, honestly, it looked like it was going to be an oblique injury. I thought it could have been something serious, but the way Altuve was talking to the media, he wasn't very concerned about it. He thought like everything was good. We're just gonna have to take it day by day. It's not a big kind of thing that I'm gonna miss and be on the IL. So that's kind of the good part about this. Give me your thoughts. Share your thoughts with us. Maybe do you see Altuve in this series against the Angels? Possibly. I do not think he's going to play on the first game on Friday, but share your thoughts on the whole thing.
Yeah. Although he doesn't seem too concerned, I'm not saying I'm concerned either, but it's just you gotta wait and see with these injuries. I know it happened right there, what the thing with Jose Altuve is he's a trooper. So if he could play, he's going to play. He didn't play on Friday. I'm sure that's a Joe Espada decision because, like he said, he is feeling a little better. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Astros, if he doesn't play these 3 games. I think if you're the Astros, you're thinking about October. That's your goal. And yes, you need Altuve there to, help you get there. But you got to rely on Mauricio Dubon. You got to rely on the guys that could get there because if you do make it to the playoffs, you're gonna need a healthy Altuve, not a banged up Altuve. So I would say, and it came on a worst part, honestly, for the Astros because they're in the middle of the 16-game stretch where there's no off days until next week. I believe next Thursday. So for that, I would just say maybe miss 2-3 games next week, either the whole series or like 2 games of the series, and then just get back together because the Astros are gonna need them against Seattle. Are going to need them against Cleveland because they're going to be like those are the games that are going to be with significant value.
Yeah, my thing is for Altuve, and I mean I'm not speaking for him, but if it's kind of if it's not that serious, but it's still bothering you a little bit, like it's still lingering, I wouldn't personally, if I'm in his shoes, I wouldn't want to play through that because there's just one move that can actually happen, and then bam, right there could be a possible tear, or you could pull something, and then you're definitely gonna miss the playoffs. So that's one of the biggest things. If you are Jose Altuve, you got to really think about your health and being 100%, like you were saying, Angel. Rely on the guys like Mauricio Dubon. Dubon had stepped in when Altuve had broke his thumb in that WBC game, and he stepped up in a big time. The guy was hitting a 20+ game hitting streak at a time too in the earlier part of that season. So you got guys behind you that can actually step up in a pivotal part of the season, just like right now. Of course, too, you got to think about guys coming back, like you were saying. Justin Verlander's coming back from injury. Kyle Tucker's coming back from injury. Alex Bregman's still dealing with them, quote, gremlins in his elbow. So you have to make sure Jose Altuve is I would say either 95 to 100% healthy before getting him back on that field. And I know he's a competitor too, because every guy's like that. Even though there is a small injury like a sprained ankle or just something like that, they still want to go out there and play and contribute some way and somehow. But at the same time too, you got to be smart, because you got to think of the long term of what's your goal, and that's going to the World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I guess we're in consensus here. We agree with each other. I mean, if you need to take out 3 days with the Angels, like miss that series completely, I mean, by all means, do it. Because the thing with the side is, it's not like he can DH, just like Tucker has, because you rotate your hips when you you swing, so that's where most of your power comes from. So it's not like he can just go out there and hit. So I would say just take the days off. You're playing for something bigger. Yes, you need to win these 2 games, but I think the Astros have great players that can pick up the slack. I mean, just when Kyle Tucker was off, they had a winning record. The outfielders were stepping up to behind Kyle Tucker, so I think that can continue on.
Yeah, Jose Abreu missing, not doing really good. Gets option, dealing with John Singleton at first, and then kind of like a platoon over there, really. So it's not the first rodeo that the Astros are dealing with this, but it's just a different situation, because that is your guy, that is your table setter, your franchise leader to take you to the postseason. So just have to like on Chandler Rome's tweet, it's kind of a day by day kind of thing for them, and Altuve just has to monitor his health correctly.
Yeah, did you read the tweet?
Yeah, so that came from Chandler Rome on his tweet.
Perfect. Are we ready for Carnessa?
I think we are. We're ready for it.
Yeah, so again, before we move on, we wish Altuve, speedy recovery there, and just take his time. But let's start with who's invited to Carnessa. And again, when the Astros do the series, kind of harder to pick, but I think there's one guy who really deserved it. That's going to be Framber Valdez. 6.1 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Before this start, Framber Valdez had posted an 11-3 record and a 2.38 ERA in his last 17 starts, dating back since June 1st. And honestly, since June 1st, do you know who the top 2 pitchers are in wins? Since June 1st, since wins, ERA, and opponent slugging, in those categories there.
I'm guessing Hunter Brown, just for the fact that he's been really pitching well.
Yeah. The Astros have tag teamed. Actually, Schoolball is 3rd in the ERA, but since June 1st. So the Astros are kind of tag teamed the Major League American League by storm, because since June 1st, Framber Valdez is 1st in wins, and then Brown is tied for 10 wins. ERA, Brown actually has the edge with 2.32. He's number 1 in that. Valdez is 2.38 in ERA. Schoolball, 3rd for 2.86. And then an opponent slugging, Valdez and Brown are 1st and 2nd. Valdez is 1st with 2.72, and Brown 2nd with 3.04. So, I mean, just shows how that 1-2 punch for the Astros is really feeling it right now. I mean, and with Hunter Brown, like you were saying, like it happens. Like, it's hard to be perfect in this league because you're going against professional hitters on the other end, and not too worried about that start.
Not just that, but you're seeing the A's 4 times this season. Yeah. You're not seeing like the Twins that you'll see on the road and at home 2 times. Yeah, and it's not like the National League too. You're only seeing them 1 time. So,
yeah, and then a guy who I think deserves some props just from the entire season, because he's been really giving his all. It's gonna be Brian Abreu. I know there was talk about him. We talked about it too, like not having that 8 inning row. Just kind of diminishing his workload now. But he came in firing against the A's. 2 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts. All of them coming in that second game of the in extras. Pitching 10th and 11th inning, dominant, was pretty phenomenal for Brady. That was pretty great. He leads the majors in appearances with 72 games. He's actually tied with one of the A's relievers. Yeah, so he's been getting a chunk of workload. When he came into that second game, he struck out 5 of the 6 batters he faced, which set a career high in strikeouts, which is passing his previous high of 4. And then this stat right here is where this really puts into light how great Brian Abreu has been this year. He has 35 holds this season, which is a single season record for the Astros, like in history. Single season, which is the most single season in Astros history. He passed right-handed pitcher Octavio Dotel, who picked up 33 holds in 2003.
Wow.
So that's pretty phenomenal.
That right there had Brad Lidge and Billy Wagner, I want to say.
Yeah.
In the bullpen.
No, I think Billy Wagner was gone in 2003.
Was Billy Wagner gone at that time?
Yeah, I think it was Lidge.
Still,
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Another thing too, 72. That's tying his career high in appearances right now. So he's gonna set a new career high in appearances this season.
Yeah, I mean, and he's earned every single one of them because it's a tough stretch and coming in and like shit. What 81 games? Like 81 is the halfway point, right?
Hold on.
Yeah, it's 162. Yeah. He's almost come in half a season, like half the games. That's crazy.
Honestly, dude.
That's crazy. But hey,
I might need to give him a breather. Might. That's why I said I'm not saying that he does, but just depends.
I'm sure Brian Abreu is praying for that bye week. And then a guy who deserves some props, it might be stepping in for Jose Altuve for a little bit. Mauricio Dubon. He went 3 for 9 this series with three ribbies. And over his last 12 games, he's batting 400, which is 12 for 30 with 5 RBIs. That number just went up because again, that was before today's game, so that number just went up too. Because I think he had 2 hits. Yeah, he went 4 for 2, 2 for 4 this series. So that number went up.
So it's over 400, and then 7 RBIs.
7 RBIs. Yeah.
Some of them have plate appearances, man. Real quick, some of them plate appearances. I'm like, damn. Like you're kind of head scratching. Like, man, I don't know about swinging at that pitch, but aggressive. I guess. I mean, the Astros are aggressive. Period. Just.
Yeah, but then he comes through, and then you forget about it.
I mean, that is true. Like, hold on, Yeah, he had an RBI in Wednesday's contest, but he popped out. He popped out a second, then he popped out to the catcher in foul territory. So
okay, I do agree. That I think he needs to be a little bit more patient at the plate. But sometimes in the majors, they keep, like you're gonna get one good pitch to hit, and if you miss it, that's it. I
guess if it ain't broke, don't fix.
Yeah. And then lastly, Yanair Diaz, he went 5 for 13 with a double. Yanair Diaz has been so great that he has set the single season club record by a catcher in hits with 155 and RBIs with 81. He also matched the club record in runs with 63. And among AO players this season, Diaz ranked 7th in batting average. While, and like I said earlier, leads the Astros in runs batted in.
He's had a really hell of a season. I just, as a baseball fan, I just wish his power numbers would show like how it was like last year. That's the only thing I'm like, man, if Diaz can get his power numbers going, which I think him and Ali Rutschman, is there another American League catcher he could put up there with them too? That's a very good catcher.
Ali Rutschman. I would say Logan O'Hoppy's pretty good too.
And Cal Riley's another guy that
Cal
has
Riley. Yeah,
plus
there you go,
home
Cal
runs.
Riley. Yeah.
Ryan Jeffers had a really good season too.
See,
but consistently, that's the thing.
I think maybe in a year or two, maybe 3-4 years, Yanair Diaz will be a catcher where he can have that pop and batting average. But I think right now, he's a young player. It's like you're gonna sacrifice one or the other. It's like, yeah, you get another home runs, but that batting average is gonna be low. Or you can get a 300 hitting catcher, but the home runs are gonna be low. Because if you see some of his at bats, he's not trying to do too much. He's taking what the pitchers give him. He's taking the ball the other way. He's like kind of like working the at bats at times. Because last year he was like most of his home runs were kind of poolside. I mean, yeah, he had a few outliers going the other way, but he was putting the ball a little bit more. And I think now working the whole plate, it's kind of worked out for him.
Yeah, he's been hitting the ball really a lot to the right side, like you're saying, right center, really. He's just done a phenomenal job this season, stepping up, especially like you mentioned earlier in the show about Kyle Tucker. One of the guys being out, and Harry Diaz is like, hold my beer. Let me step up to the plate real quick and start producing. And sure enough, give him the RBIs in the club right now, leading it. Now that's pretty impressive because you got guys like Altuve, Jordan, Alex, and even Tucker, even though Tucker's missed some games.
Yeah, I mean, I think a bad season for Yandy Diaz and the Astros are not where they're at right now. I think he's been like you said, stepping up in that cleanup hole. He's been pretty phenomenal there.
Be interesting how these lineups look when it comes closer and closer to the postseason. Like I said, if the Astros make the postseason, I'm very curious to see where Joe Spada puts him in that lineup. He's been doing really well in the cleanup hole, but possibly you're probably looking maybe putting Kyle Tucker right there too.
Yeah, I think so.
But moving on to the pitching preview, they are traveling to Anaheim, Disneyland, Mickey Mouse World in Los Angeles, California. Anaheim Angels, as I like to call them, which I think that's really should be their name instead of Los Angeles Angels. Which, I mean, they've had names like going like from Anaheim Angels to Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Like, to me, it just doesn't make sense.
I'm gonna sign a petition to bring back the California Angels.
That's another one I was missing. See, yeah. I knew I had one more. Yeah, California Angels. That one's a sick one. And even, I don't know if you've seen their hat too. The CA.
The logo's nice. Yeah, the
logo
nice.
is fly. So,
yeah. And you know what?
I agree with you on that.
Like, I don't know if I can support it because, you know, we're writers. But if I wasn't a writer, I would buy it just because it has my initials on it.
Oh, my God. I mean, I guess that's pretty cool. I mean, you could wear a C for, you know, with the Cincinnati, you got Cubs.
Yeah,
I mean, you could represent right there. Even the A's with, you know, with your first initial.
Yeah.
But the Angels 60-86. They are 4-6 in their last 10 games. They are last in the American League West, which they've already been eliminated from playoff contention. And the Astros have only seen them 2 times this season. They've won the first time in the series in Houston, and they lost the second series, which was in Anaheim.
Wait.
For the Angels.
Wait, they've only seen them twice?
Yeah, so remember, they're going over there.
Yeah, they shortened. Yeah.
And next week they'll be in next week the Angels will be traveling to Houston for that homestand.
Last year was the year they shortened up those AL West matchups, right?
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
22.
Yeah. No, but that's crazy. I mean, like, I think they put the first 2 ones in the beginning and now like the last 2 ones in the end. It's kind of strange there.
It's kind of like the Rangers. The Rangers, everything was kind of piled up in the beginning. And I think the last matchup against them was in July. Or was it early August?
Yeah, I think it was early August.
Because the last time was when they traveled to Arlington.
Do you like that, though? That they play the AL West last?
I actually do. I do like it. 4 series instead of 17 games against each divisional opponent, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that.
I think this is better. I do like this, the format.
I like it too. It brings more teams that, for example, like the Cincinnati Reds last year, like they came to Houston, and since they moved to the AL West, it's very few times they come. The Cubs came and stuff like that. So it's just like, I agree with you. That's pretty cool. Like allows more teams to come. Yeah,
I like the Astros too, traveling to Cincinnati and Chicago. That was like the first time in a while since the NL Central. Oh, in San Diego too. So, I think they went to the Padres, I want to say in 22 or 21.
Did they?
Yeah, I want to say so. But like you were mentioning, I mean, it's just cool to do that. And you get to play like other teams out of their division in the Central and in the East 2 times. But let's get with the preview. Friday night, ice cold beers on ice. 8:38 start time. Yusei Kikuchi's on the mound with the 8.9 record, 4.31 ERA. He'll be going against Samuel Altuve. Altuve, Angel. How do you spell Altuve real quick?
I don't know. I mean, it kind of sounds like Spencer Getty, honestly.
Has the same initials too, SA.
Yeah.
1-1 record, 2.45 ERA. Kikuchi, real quick. The last start versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts. This is probably one of his not even worst games, I would call it. Probably just inconsistent games he's pitched with the Astros, giving up 4 earned runs. And he's yet to face the Angels this season, so it could be really good for both sides. One being the Astros, knowing their divisional opponent, they could give a little bit of insight for Kikuchi. I'm pretty sure he's looking at the scouting reports just like the Angels are doing on their side. So it'll be an interesting matchup right here with some lefties on their team. Altuve, on the other hand, for the Angels, this is a rookie, which if you've seen the last name, Aldegheri, Altuve. He is a rookie who just made his major league debut this year from Verona, Italy.
Oh wow,
Italy, baby.
did he play for Team Italy?
I think so. I'm not. I mean, I don't have it right in front of me.
Let me
I wouldn't
see.
be surprised though if he has.
You know,
Go
I was
check it
looking
out.
at your, I was looking at your pitching preview. I'm not getting into it, but the Astros are going against rookie, veteran, rookie.
Yeah, it's crazy. But he is the first Italian to get a win in Major League Baseball history. His last start against the Texas Rangers, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. That was his first Major League win. His MLB debut came against the Seattle Mariners over there in Anaheim. He did receive the L in that one. 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. So this is a guy that's going to put the ball in play. Obviously, you see the earned runs right there. Doesn't give up a lot of earned runs. Seattle, really, their offense hasn't been the best. I think they're like ranked 26 or 25 in Major League Baseball in offensive production. Texas right now is just dealing with a lot of injuries. I know, Angel, you'll talk about Corey Seager here and around the horn, but he's yet to face a dominant lineup like the Astros that carry guys like Altuve, Bregman, Jordan, Tucker, Diaz. Like we mentioned before, we don't know if we're going to see Altuve be in this game. Of course, Kyle Tucker still kind of rehabbing a little bit here and there. So we'll just have to just monitor this game. But there's a great opportunity going against a rookie. But the Astros too have had their struggles against rookie starting pitchers this season.
Yeah, and just to inform you, he did not play for Team Italy, which is surprising. I mean,
did get the first win as an Italian player in MLB history. I think that's pretty damn cool.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I think that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's history right there, baby. It's like that movie.
That jersey got sent to Cooperstown.
I'm pretty sure. What's that movie with Adam Sandler and Kevin Garnett's on that movie too? When he's like, "That's history right there, baby."
Uncut Gems or something like that.
Uncut Gems. I knew it was something with gems. I just couldn't remember the damn first name.
Man,
God, Adam Sandler. What a actor he is.
I'm getting cooked by James Cook, bro.
Saturday, 8:38. Justin Verlander on the mound, 3.6 record with a 5.30 ERA. He'll be going against Tyler Anderson, 10-12, 3.50 ERA. Justin Verlander, last start versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, aka Pavin Smith. 3 innings, 8 hits, 8 earned runs, 1 walk, no strikeouts. His last start against the Angels, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. That was his last start before hitting the IL with neck discomfort. So after getting off the IL, 0-4 record, 9+ ERA. Angel, what are you looking for JV? Because this is a guy that you had mentioned before that he could possibly be a game 2, game 3 starter, but then you changed your mind the last episode. Yeah. So, I mean, you're going back and forth here and there. But what do you think he needs to get back on track for him to try to be at least a game 2, game 3 starter?
I'd say it's more a feel of his pitches. Like he did say last time, he had like his fastball was crispier and it's like slider felt better. Now it's just commanding it. I think with Justin Verlander, he's working hard. He's like working hard, looking at film, so he's gonna see like he's gonna make those adjustments. But I think he knows in the back of his mind, like in the back of his mind, he needs to play better. He needs to play better if he wants to be in that top order of the rotation. Because right now he is getting outplayed by Kikuchi, Hunter Brown, and Framber, which, with all due respect, they deserve to be those 1, 2, 3 because they've been pitching great. However, Justin Verlander knows that he needs to be better if the Astros are going to have a chance to win the division. And I think this is a game to make that happen. I'm no disrespect to the Angels; they're a great team, but they're struggling in their own right, and I think Justin Verlander needs to take advantage of those struggles.
If anything lines up correctly, Verlander will pitch against them 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, because
I
he'll
don't.
have this start against Anaheim. He won't start over there at San Diego. So more than likely he'll pitch against them again at home at Minute Maid Park.
Would you consider the ballpark in Anaheim a pitcher's ballpark?
I don't know. Left field's pretty steep, I would say. Right
Okay.
field as well. Like down the lines, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a little bit out.
Because I know sometimes pitching at Minute Maid Park can be a little unlucky just because of that short porch, and then honestly, left field's not, right field's not too far back either. So I think like you could hit into some like pitches some bad luck there, but I think maybe this field can get some confidence back. Like, hey, that was an out instead of a long ball or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting start for him. But Tyler Anderson, on the other hand, he was an all-star this year for the Angels. Last start against Texas, 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Last start versus the Houston Astros, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. He's already pitched against them 2 times this season. He has a record of 1-1. Post All-Star break after having that All-Star bid in Arlington, he is 2-4 with a 4.74 ERA and a 2.46 opponent batting average. So he hasn't been pitching well as of late. But at the same time, too, you've seen Houston going against teams like Cincinnati, Oakland, and it hasn't gone well for them. So you never know what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. This is a team the Astros got to beat up on. And I don't know why they tend to play at the level of their opponent when they go under 500 teams. Like I know you mentioned that earlier, but they need to take advantage of this.
You got to. 16 games left in the season. Sunday, 3:07 start time. Ronel Blanco is back on the start. 10-6 record, 2.99 ERA. Caden Dana, 1-1 record, 9 ERA for the Angels. Blanco, his last appearance, not last start, appearance coming out of the bullpen versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. 2 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 42 pitches were thrown, 28 were strikes. This was a guy that we had talked about a spot of possibly getting him to go to the bullpen and pitch either a couple of innings, 1 inning here, and then another inning there in one of these games, because more than likely I will probably see him coming in a middle relief role, piggybacking off a starting pitcher in the postseason this year, or possibly he could be a Game 4 starter if Verlander continues the trend that he's at. But his last start versus the Kansas City Royals, 5 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. 101 pitches were thrown, 60 of them were strikes. And like I had mentioned before, he's going to be back on the Astros rotation since they are going to a 6-man during this 16-game stretch. I think this is a great move, just specifically getting these other guys an extra day of rest, and then Ronel Blanco getting comfortable back on the starting mound just in case something comes upon with shakiness between Eric Getty and Verlander. Even Blanco could be a little shaky here and there. So gets another opportunity to prove that he could be a starter in the postseason.
Yeah, I think this break is going to be much senior for Blanco. I mean, like you might see a little extra zip on that fastball, a little movement on that breaking ball. So, I mean, I think he needed it. I wouldn't be surprised in the last, before the season ends today, this year, Ronel Blanco is going to have another outing off the bullpen.
I think so. I want to say so too. And that's probably going to be in that, either in the Seattle series.
I say Cleveland.
It could be Seattle and Cleveland. That's what I was going to say, Seattle or Cleveland. So it could be either, or it could be both.
Yeah.
Very important, though, for him to get them reps in over there in the bullpen. And Dana, number 1 prospect in the Angels farm system. Early September, he made his MLB debut, just like the Italian over there, the Italian stallion, I guess you can say, for the Angels. Last start against the Rangers, 1 inning, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. It was not pretty for him in his second career start. MLB debut, he did pick up the win against Seattle, 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. Like I said, this is going to be his 3rd career start in his MLB young career. He has a 5-pitch arsenal: 4-seamer, slider, curveball, cutter, changeup. 4-seamer, you're probably going to see most of the time, 55.1%. He's thrown it, averages about 93 to 94 miles per hour. Slider, that's probably going to be his best pitch, I would say. 26% of the time he throws it. 3 strikeouts is the most out of the 5 strikeouts he has. He got 3 coming from the slider. And an opponent batting average on that pitch is 111, and expected batting average is 163. So has a great slider. The curveball, the cutter, and the changeup, very similar numbers in percentages. 7.2 coming from the curve, 5.8 coming from the cutter, 5.1 coming from the change. Curveball, he's only thrown it 10 times, cutter thrown it 8, and the changeup throwing 7. The thing I will say about the changeup is he only throws it to left-handed hitters. So who has left-handed hitters on this team? Possibly if you get the whole 3 lefties in this lineup, Tucker, Alvarez, and Singleton, then if you're one of those guys, you're probably going to see a changeup in one of those at-bats.
I'm sure. And Jordan Alvarez actually does a really good job adjusting to that changeup too. So I think he can get pretty good hits there.
Sweepable series or winnable series, Angel?
Both.
I mean, sweep and win is 2 different. It's 2 out of 3 or 3 full games. Bringing of the Brooms.
I know that, but this is a series they could sweep it if they don't. This is a winnable series.
I think it's sweepable. Justin Verlander could get back on track. You got Ronel Blanco coming back into the starting rotation, and you're starting off strong with a guy that the Angels haven't seen this season and who's really pitched well with the Astros since being acquired from them at the trade deadline. So I could see a sweep. And you got 2 rookies on the other side. Like we have talked about earlier, the Astros have their fair shares against rookie pitchers this season. But 2 guys like that possibly could happen.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a very winnable series. They need a win because that 3-4.5 game lead from Seattle's not very comfortable if you're the Astros. So they need to start upping that number.
Yep.
But I guess let's move on to the train station. So let's start with Chas McCormick. I know we talked about Altuve earlier, so we're going to go ahead and jump in with Chas McCormick. If you missed that Altuve injury update, you can always catch this podcast tomorrow on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. So reach out there. But Chas McCormick, he's going to be out for the rest of the season. I just about to say Chas McCormick has a small fracture in his right hand last night in the post game. He also mentioned there hasn't been a decision if he's out for. Oh, sorry, it hasn't been a decision. He's out for the rest of the season. And then Chas McCormick did address the media last night about it.
I'll play that video here. Like I said, we don't have the video online, but we have the audio. Sorry about it. We'll figure that out pretty soon. But here's Chas in the post game talking about his injury.
So disappointing. Just really disappointed. Yeah, man. Just want to be out here trying to help the team win, especially towards the end of the season, going to the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, it's disappointing. Disappointing season overall, and just not the way I wanted to happen. Just because I've been feeling good. That's crappy. I was feeling like myself finally, and then this happened, and hopefully, but I'll be back. Yeah. All I know is I'm on IL for 10 days or whatever it is. So that's all I got.
What exactly is the break, or is it a serious thing, or
It's not a serious thing. It's a small fracture. Small fracture right underneath my index finger, right here. So it's not a serious thing.
to kind of just sum up the way that things have been going for you this
Yeah,
year?
definitely.
Yeah. You're on mute, Zoe.
I will be back though at the end of the year, and also it stinks because I was feeling like myself, so that's disappointing.
It's just rest.
Yeah, it's just rest and let it heal, and hopefully I can get back to swinging as soon as possible. Everything else feels good. It's just pick up the bat. So. I have a brace. I'm gonna wear a brace and do as much treatment as possible to get back at the end of the season.
That was Chas McCormick on the post game. Questions coming from Julia Morales, Matt Kawahara, Brian McTaggart, and Chandler Rome. But you could just hear it in his voice, man. You could just hear it in his voice. Very disappointed from the whole thing. Oh, and then he had showed us like where the fracture was. It's like he had mentioned his index finger. It's like right here somewhere.
So how long do you think he's out?
That's the thing. They didn't officially say he was out for the season because it's a bone. It's a thing that could heal on its own. He's gonna have to wear a brace, so he's gonna be on the 10-day IL. I'm guessing after them 10 days, that's when they'll go back and reassure to see what's gonna happen, what's the next steps, if he can play through it, and see what happens from there. So after the 10 days, I'm pretty sure that's when you'll probably have your answer, either out for the season or not.
And actually, because of fracture, I mean, you saw, he says it's a small fracture, but you saw Chuck with a fracture too, and he was gone for 3 months. So it's, I would say based on that, it's not looking too promising. However, 2 different injuries, you got a shin, you got a finger. So, one could be a little bit more serious than the other. But I mean, if it's right here, you got to grip the bat,
So yeah, that was the other thing he had mentioned, gripping the bat. So
yeah,
it's unfortunate because this is a guy I just literally had talked to him the day before of the injury, and he had mentioned about like he was getting back in the groove of things. Being an option was one of the best things that happened to him because it gave him a new perspective of trying to figure out what can be done, what like physically, what can be done mentally. The new approach coming back up to the majors. Obviously, Jake Myers got on, with the paternity list, and they recalled him from AAA. And then, I mean, he was hitting the ball really well. So, like I said, it's just unfortunate for him. I know it sucks. You could just hear it in his voice.
Yeah. So if you don't want to get hurt, don't talk to the. I'm just kidding. But here's some roster moves. Since Chas McCormick was placed on the IL, the Astros recalled infielder Greg Kessinger and left-handed pitcher Brian King and right-handed pitcher Nick Martinez was the option. So Nick Martinez, Chas McCormick out, and then Greg Kessinger, Brian King in. I wonder if Greg Kessinger is going to get a little bit more playing time, especially with Altuve out, just to kind of fill in, like Dubon can fill in the outfield and maybe Kessinger a second or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But moving on, Kyle Tucker, in his return, he's already been nominated for awards. He's been named the Houston Astros 2024 nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award. I know Ar's going to talk to him about that award. I think you did too as well. So, I mean, it means it's special to him, especially the Roberto Clemente Award is an annual recognition for a player who represents the game of baseball through extraordinary character, community involvement, philanthropy, and positive contribution to both on and off the field. So I think the players for this one, it kind of means a lot just because if you're nominated, because that means you're doing something right in the community.
Yep, pretty much. And you just said it right there. It's a great award to be nominated for too.
Absolutely. And then Alan Ashby, I don't know if you remember him. He was a former Astros player. I think he caught a little bit. He was also a broadcaster for the Astros. He's been voted to the 2024 Houston Baseball Media Wall of Honor. He'll have a little plaque in the press box. He'll also be honored in a pregame ceremony on September 23rd, 2024. So if you are there, tune in for that. Ashby caught 12 seasons of Astros baseball across 2 stints in the broadcast booth. First on radio from 1998 to 2005, and then on television from 2013 to 2016. And he also spent his first 8 seasons on radio alongside Hall of Famer Milo Hamilton. So, pretty phenomenal stuff there.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that I think had caught Mike Scott's no-hitter. 80s catcher right there.
Yeah.
That's the 80s catcher.
There you go. For no-hitter, you always have to give props to the catcher too. Like they're the one calling the game, so pretty good there. And then around the horn, if you're a Texas Rangers fan listening to us, Corey Seager, I'm sure you heard, is having season-ending sports hernia surgery. I think that's a big blow for the Rangers. I know they were trying to make a comeback. It's not looking so good. So I mean, I guess I would say if it's gonna happen, now's the perfect time so you can be ready for spring training.
Unfortunate for the 23 World Series champions.
Yeah, really like a downturn, which is crazy because, like, the thing between the Nationals and the Rangers is that the Nationals lost a lot of talent after that World Series, but the Rangers really kept their core intact and just couldn't come up with a lot of wins.
Yeah, their farm system went from one of the best to things like ranked 20 something now. Like they've used a lot of people out of their farm, which is That's the part that I think that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why they actually kind of reluctant sometimes to give away their farm system, just because things like that. I mean, they did so this year, but I mean, it's panned out with Yusei Kikuchi. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta. I feel like you gotta spend money to make money, right? But Seattle Mariners Brian Wu, I know we mentioned him earlier. You know, last name. I feel like Ric Flair will be proud of that last name, but in honor of Ric Flair, Brian Wu had some Ric Flair cleats. I said, "Woo!" I know Josh Reddick will be proud of that too.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of got lost.
Okay.
Thursday night
It's
football,
okay.
man. Shit. I mean, but yeah, I think, man, I'm surprised Josh Reddick hasn't worn any Woo cleats like that, like with Ric Flair's face on it.
Yeah, you know, I know
That's
he does
shocker.
like
I
the
just thought about that right now.
yeah, like I know he has a WWE belt, but yeah, you're right.
I mean, the Astros did, I think at the time had sold a robe that I think Josh
so.
Reddick had worn too.
Yeah,
So in honor of Ric Flair has also came to Minute Maid Park to throw out the first pitch. So
and did you see Francisco Lindor's first responders custom glove for 9/11?
very nice tribute, especially too.
I wonder where he keeps all these custom gloves. Like you think he has like a little shadow box for like all of them in his house, or you think they're just thrown?
I would think either that, or he can also auction them off for for a local charity. One of his charities. I don't know. I don't know what he does with them gloves, but if I'm him, some of those gloves are nice. He has a Gucci glove. He has a glove with his daughter's on, like his daughter's favorite things on it.
I'm sure he's not auctioning that one up.
There's another one too, and I just can't remember at the top of my head, but he has I think he has maybe about 5 custom gloves by Rawlings, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a defensive wizard, you can do all that, right?
And an MVP candidate too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Shohei Ohtani's gonna blow with it, but if Shohei Ohtani was still in the American League, I think Francisco Lindor has a great chance to win the MVP.
Pretty much.
And then I don't know if you saw Francis Bowden game with the Blue Jays. He was throwing a no-hitter against the Mets, and then Francisco Lindor tied it up with a solo home run, and it went pretty south from there. The Mets are the only team in Major League Baseball in the modern era to score 6+ runs in the 9th inning after having no hits and no runs through 8. It's crazy. Completely.
Not gonna lie to you. I mean, I had Bowden Francis on my fantasy, and yeah, when they say he was throwing a no hitter, I was like, oh man. And then obviously it got knocked away by Lindor hitting that home run. I was like, okay, 1 run. Pretty sure the Blue Jays get a couple runs. Man, it was a tie ball game. I was like, what is this? But yeah, I mean, that's even hard. I mean, he's had that happen to him twice, I believe.
Yeah, I think in his last 4 starts.
Too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Unfortunate, very unfortunate. Oh, two was running. He took a hit.
He's thrown 3 picks already.
That's not good.
Oh,
concussion.
Yeah. Tune into all right. Now that we're done, tune into Thursday Night Football now. Yeah.
Yes. So before everybody goes, make sure you look at that ticker below. Social is on there from Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, FSA Full Steam Ahead, as well as YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, a lot of our people are on Twitter right now. Make sure you go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this channel. Look at the other videos that we have as well. We recently just had that interview with Omar Vizquel, 11-time Gold Glove winner, gives his thoughts about the Astros, his Gold Gloves, defense, Venezuela. I mean, all that type of stuff. It was a really great conversation to talk baseball with him. But a lot of things are happening really good. And our Skinner and Full Steam Ahead were able to get that collaboration with Framber Valdez. A lot of great things are happening with us. So make sure you tune in. Look at that social that we have on there. But Angie, you got anything else since half your face is on the screen right now?
Yeah, I was looking at that too ahead. It doesn't look good, especially since it's concussion history. But no, yeah, just thank you for tuning in. Appreciate all the time and support. I know like we're ending, we have 2 people logging in, so appreciate that. Yeah, just continue to spread the word, tell your friends, and then we got to do it now. So shout out to our fantasy team out there when they wanted a shout out, so we got the shout out there.
Devon A-Chain, run the ball for me. But till then, we'll talk to y'all later. Get that recap against that Angels series and get that preview going for the Fathers, San Diego Padres.
Yeah. It'd be
Till
good.
then, y'all have a great and blessed weekend, and we'll talk to y'all soon.